Hello friends, this video on laws of motion part 14 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos from part 1 to 13 before going ahead with part 14. Now that we have discussed static friction, it is time to introduce kinetic friction. Again here, kinetic. The term kinetic means something which is moving. So till now we were discussing static friction, which was coming into picture when a body was at rest. Now kinetic friction comes into play when a body is moving. So kinetic friction is the force that resists motion of one body over another with which it is in contact. That means it resists the motion, whereas static friction was resisting the initiation of the motion. Static friction was trying to resist the start of motion. Kinetic friction resists the motion of one body over another. That means in this case also two bodies should be in physical contact with each other and the situation should be such that one body is moving. In that case, kinetic friction comes into play and it tries to oppose the motion of the body. Let us look at this example. We can see that this box is moving over the table. So the two surfaces are in contact. So a frictional force has to come into play. Since it is moving, that means obviously there is an external force which is being applied over this box. Now, when this body is moving, at that time, the force of friction which comes into play is kinetic friction. So the phenomenon what happens basically is that you can understand this in this series that initially the body was at rest. There was no force applied, so there was no friction. Now when an external force was applied, static friction came into play. Static friction was trying to oppose the start of the motion. So when you increase the value of the applied force, the value of static friction also increases. But static friction cannot increase its value beyond a certain maximum point. So when static friction reaches that maximum point and the force applied is increased above that, the body starts moving. Now when the body started moving, then kinetic friction comes into play. So you can look at the graph. Now you will have a better picture. We already discussed this part. First, the static friction. Static friction reached its maximum value, which is equal to mu s into n. After that, the static friction is replaced by kinetic friction. So this kinetic friction, now after that, even if the force is increased, the kinetic friction will have an almost steady value. And also, the kinetic friction, when compared to static friction, the value of kinetic friction would be lesser than that of static friction. Now we will discuss the characteristics of kinetic friction. Generally, kinetic friction is denoted by Fk. The subscript K denotes kinetic. It is again independent of the area of contact. The value of kinetic friction doesn't depend on whether the area of contact of the two bodies is big or small. It is also independent of the velocity of the body. It doesn't matter with what velocity or how fast or how slow the body is moving. It again varies with normal reaction. That means very similar to static friction, the kinetic friction, that is Fk, also varies with the normal reaction. That means here also we will introduce a constant of proportionality will be introduced. Now this constant of proportionality was found to be mu k. Very similar to how we found mu s. So mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction. Coefficient of kinetic friction. So we get this relation again that Fk, that is kinetic friction, is equal to mu k into n, where mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction and n is the normal reaction. Now that we have introduced what is kinetic friction, let us look at the motion of a body in general considering kinetic friction. So let us take the first scenario when the applied force is greater than the kinetic friction. Let us take the same example. In this case, we say that the applied force, that means the force which we are applying in this direction, that is Fa, is greater than the kinetic friction. The kinetic friction is along this direction. Now what happens when the applied force is greater than kinetic friction? The body will move, right? Because this force is dominating over kinetic friction. So definitely the body will move in this direction. Now from Newton's second law, we know that the net force which is acting on this body is equal to the mass of the body into the acceleration produced in the body. So what would be the net force which is tied on this body? That would be the Fa, that means the applied force, minus Fk. That's because Fa is acting along this direction and Fk is acting along this direction. So if I want to find the net force on this body, it would be Fa minus Fk. So Fa minus Fk is equal to mass into acceleration. Therefore, the acceleration produced in this body is F minus Fk divided by m. Therefore, what did we conclude? We conclude that when we apply a force which is greater than the kinetic friction, in that case, the body will move and the acceleration of the body will be given by F minus Fk divided by m. Now, let us take the second case where we say that the applied force is equal to Fk. That means capital Fa, that is the applied force, is equal to the kinetic friction. Now you look at this equation which we derived in the first case. If you put Fk is equal to Fa, in that case you find that acceleration comes out to be 0. Right? You put Fa is equal to Fk in this equation. So you will get acceleration is equal to 0. What do you mean by acceleration is equal to 0? That means the object will move with uniform velocity. So what do you infer from A is equal to 0? That is acceleration is equal to 0. That means the body moves with uniform velocity, correct? So the first scenario told that when the applied force is greater than the kinetic friction, in that case the body will move with acceleration Fa minus Fk divided by m. When the applied force is equal to the kinetic friction, in that case the body will move with uniform velocity. Now let us take the third case when the applied force is equal to 0. Suppose we don't apply any external force. In that case, if you put capital F is equal to 0 again in this equation, what do you get? You get acceleration is equal to minus Fk divided by m. That means the body will start, the acceleration is negative. The first thing to notice here is it has a negative sign. That means the body will start retarding. The body will start retarding and finally it will come to rest. So the body will retard and finally it will come to rest. So the body will not move at all. Correct? And if you think this situation, that is case 3, logically also, you will arrive at the same conclusion. If you don't apply any external force on the body will generally come to stop, because the force of friction will oppose the motion of the body over the table. So the body will stop. So what we did here is, we have seen all the 3 scenarios with the help of Newton's second law, correct? So once again, we'll review all the 3 scenarios. When the applied force is greater than the kinetic friction, in that case, the body moves and it moves with an acceleration Fa minus Fk divided by m. When the applied force is equal to the kinetic friction, in that case, the body moves with uniform velocity. Again, when the applied force is 0, the body will start retarding and the retardation would be given by Fk by m, and finally it will come to rest. Now that when we have studied both kinetic friction as well as static friction, let us try to see how is mu s and mu k related. What was mu s? It is the coefficient of static friction, and what is mu k? It is the coefficient of kinetic friction. The coefficient of kinetic friction is always smaller than the coefficient of static friction. That is, mu k is always lesser than mu s. So from this, we can also see that Fk, which is equal to mu k into n, and we also know that Fs, that is static friction, which is equal to mu s into n. From this relation, we can say that Fk, that is kinetic friction, is always lesser than the static friction, right? Why is it so that the value of static friction is generally greater than the value of kinetic friction? If you think of this situation practically or logically, then also you can understand the reason. What does static friction do? Static friction tries to oppose the start of the motion. That means it tries to oppose a body which is at rest. That means the velocity of the body is zero. So it stops the body from moving. So what the role of static friction is to keep the body which is at rest. Whereas in case of kinetic friction, it just tries to oppose a body which is already moving. Now, resisting a body from moving which is at rest is difficult than resisting a body which is already in motion, correct? Like suppose you have a ball which is at rest. You have to stop this ball from moving. And in another case, you have a ball which is already moving. And you have to just resist the motion. That is, you have to take care that the motion doesn't increase further. So this scenario is more difficult than this scenario. As a result, the static friction which is involved in this scenario has a higher value than kinetic friction which is involved in this scenario. So we can see that the value of kinetic friction is generally lesser than, not generally, it is always lesser than static friction, and as a result, the value of coefficient of kinetic friction is always lesser than the value of coefficient of static friction. Thank you. Visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thanks once again.